Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Bootcast podcast. I'm your host, Justin, also known as Texas Cleat Collector. I'm here with my co-host, Colby. Colby, man, how you doing today?
What's up, dude? What's up?
How was your week, man? Tell me a little bit about your week.
I was good, man. Just coaching my son and his team. You know, a few practices here, a few practices there. So
Very nice.
just back into the swing of things, dude.
Oh, okay, very nice. Okay, so this is episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, question of the day: favorite number 5 of all time?
Oh, dude, this one's easy. This one's very easy.
You got to tell me.
I wonder if we have the same person.
We
And
might.
I bet we do. I bet we do.
But you probably also went with a Liverpool player. And
No.
Oh,
Yes. Kanate. No, I didn't. I
Oh
swear.
God, I was like, bro, please.
Oh,
Okay, give me your
my
favorite
goodness.
number 5.
Zidane, dude.
Oh,
course.
good choice.
Of course.
That's
That's
not my
yours?
number 5. That's
oh
not my number
my
5.
goodness.
But I will say that I was ready to talk about Zidane as number 5. Jude, who has definitely taken up that same mantle.
Oh, that's a good
Dude,
one.
I love Jude. I've been loving Jude for a couple years now.
You know, I would almost, in any other circumstance, I would say that's too soon. But in his case, it's, I don't want
Dude.
to jinx him.
He's a freak.
I'm not- Yeah, it's just like the slow-mo videos of him dribbling around people is just nuts, dude.
Dude, it's insane what, like, I don't want to say the hype, and I feel like that's a wrong word, but how much attention is already drawn to him, and he's like, what, 20, 21?
Dude, he's 20. I think
and he's
20.
like, and he's like tearing up at Real Madrid.
Yeah, it's wild. And like the physicality, like you see other 20-year-olds in the Premier League and they look like scrawny, little kids, and he literally looks like a full-size.
He looks like a grown
adult
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's wild.
He's wild. But I
Yeah.
do love Jude. No, my number 5, and this is the bias in me, but I pick Rio, bro. Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love Rio. Like, Rio to
Yeah.
me, and eventually if we get up high enough, he's like one of the 2 greatest center backs of all time for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, English, I should say. I'll say English.
And he was partnered with Vidic for a little bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, Vidic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a good
Oh,
partnership.
dude, they complemented each other so well.
You know what's funny about those Manchester United guys is that they all had some serious longevity, dude. Like I remember being in freaking college and was Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes were playing like almost a freaking 40 years old. And
Yeah, dude. Scholes came
Ferdinand-
out of retirement.
Yeah, like
That's
and
how good he
Ferdinand
was.
up there too.
Yeah, Rio was great, bro. And I love, like, I don't know if you watch Vibe with 5, Rio's channel on YouTube.
Sometimes I've seen
I
clips.
really, yeah, I like a lot of the work he does, but I like that he's very open and honest about like what it was like to be a professional and like what it's like to be a professional now with other younger kids and where he disagrees. And I just love the behind the scenes. Like he really is like the peeping behind the veil. And I absolutely love that it's him because he's so well spoken, he's so articulate, and I think he crushes it. He's so good
dude.
at what
He
he
is
does.
good. He is good.
I mean, he was
I like
a
him a lot.
phenomenal footballer. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah, I love Rio. But Zidane, Zizou, one of the greatest of all time.
All time, dude. All
And
time.
you know what's so funny is people always ask me, like, and I watch, like I said, a lot of British commentators and channels and stuff, and they talk about iconic moments. And to me, Zidane's headbutt World Cup final is the most iconic moment in football simply because people who live in America that don't know soccer or football know the bald guy that headbutted him. Like, that's what they know. Like, I'll be like, oh, yeah. They'll be like, I don't know who that is. I'm like, he headbutted. They're like, oh, I've seen that picture. Like, they know the meme a lot of times.
There's so much more background to that man, and so it's kind of sad that it's
yeah.
all been summed up to a freaking headbutt. But hey,
Yeah,
dude,
dude.
like that,
Dude, like, that is the greatest World Cup moment. Like, people have, like, hand of God, all this Messi winning final. No, man.
It's
Zizou headbutt.
yes, dude, yes, that's nuts, man.
Yeah, okay, so let's get into today's episode. So, it's been, like, what, a week since the GX... Oh, at the time of recording, it's been a week since the
Yeah.
GX2 Luna 2 has come out. You officially have a pair.
I have a pair.
So I want to hear about this GX2 because I know a lot of our listeners and some of our friends have a lot of questions. So I'm going to basically kind of forward that to you.
All
but I
right.
want you to take the reins, man. Tell me about the GX2.
Dude, okay.
You got the GX2, right? Not
I have the
Luna.
GX2. Yes.
Okay. We got the GX2.
Yeah, the low cut
Okay,
model.
cool.
Because there's no, I mean, dude, there's no changing it. These high cut models, man. My wide fat foot, bro. I can't
Dude,
risk
you
it.
have cankles. It's not a foot. It's a
the
cankle,
Luna-
okay? Stop blaming your foot.
The Luna's scarred me, man. No, but I will say, like, okay, you want to start? Let me start off with the bad because there's not a lot of bad to say.
Okay.
and I wouldn't even call it bad necessarily. the toe box for me still a bit too narrow, but that's just me, personal preference. There is a little bit of room at the end of the toe as well, but I actually kind of like that.
Okay.
Right. Super wide fit. I like that. That's not a bad thing. This colorway, it's horrible. You know how sometimes, especially with Nike, you'll go online and you'll see what's the color I'm thinking? Hyper Crimson. You know Hyper Crimson? It's kind of like an orangish, pinky type. I used to see those online. I'm like, oh, what is that? Like, I have no idea. And then you get in real life and you're like, oh, this actually looks really good. This is terrible. This is like,
yeah, dude.
The Little Mermaid kind of threw up, and I don't even know, dude. This is definitely going to go down as like probably one of my least favorite colorways.
Okay.
But that being said, everything else about it, I really, really like, dude. Start off with the Luna sole plate.
Yes. Okay. This is where I'm really curious because, I'm huge pro Luna sole plate.
Yeah,
you were very unsure.
I was unsure, and it was only because I could probably spend about 2 minutes in a Luna before my foot felt like it was going to fall off. But no, so I actually use these on AG, and I didn't feel like I was, just rooted to the ground. Like, it really felt very nice, actually.
Okay.
Like, I know that what do they say? Like, you can kind of pivot in all directions type of thing, and I don't know if I'd call it that, but it did definitely feel like I know the marketing has been, okay, look, we've got these blades in circle shape. Okay, great. Like kind of you said, it's kind of like a saw blade where you can kind of put it down and then kind of do your circular thing. I just felt like I wasn't as solidified to the ground as I am in some other boots with blades.
Okay.
Like if I'm in like a Furon or like say like a Speedflow or a Vapor, like this is a different feeling entirely, right?
In a positive way, would you say? Do you lean more positive or do you lean more negative or more
No,
neutral?
this is positive. This is positive. A lot of people have said it's a bit flexible. It wasn't too flexible for me. I mean, it's still a brand new boot. So a little bit of wear time. Super soft, dude. This is a super soft upper. It probably doesn't need much break-in time at all.
Really?
Yeah. And they did take all the layers off. So when you first pull the boot out of the box, right, it feels like that grip knit. It actually feels very sticky. So I was worried that you're going to get kind of that overstick that people talk about with the GX. Okay. But then you've got the raised Luna elements as well.
Okay.
So I didn't feel like it was too sticky, man. Like I was dribbling the ball around. I was like, this feels really good. The touch felt good. It felt very 1-to-1.
Okay.
Like a shot, release on the ball, things like that. It didn't feel like I thought it was going to feel. It felt very. It just felt like a good. It just felt like a good touch. Like just different. It was different. It's very light. It's a very 1-to-1. I like it better than the GX. I like the upper better than the GX1.
Okay.
The sole plate I'll probably have to spend some more time with.
Okay.
But for me, this boot is a winner, dude. Like for wide feet, the lockdown is great. I'm a huge lockdown guy.
Yes.
So did not feel like hardly any heel slippage at all.
Okay.
Heel's super comfortable. Got like some really nice padding in here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that looks comfortable.
So I mean, honestly, dude, like this besides the colorway, this boot's a winner. Colorway and the toe box. Like that's the only real negatives I have about it.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
Okay, so with I know you've gotten limited wear time. Does the sole plate, are you worried about the cracking at all? Or are you thinking maybe that's a one-off, like early production? Like, you have any sort of feeling towards that? Or is it just like, only time will tell?
Only time will tell, man. There's no way. I would like to, just speaking of, because I haven't tried it yet, I would like to try the AG sole plate as well.
Yeah.
And there are, as we know, some pretty good colorways coming out after this one, so maybe that will be one.
That white one. Okay, a few more questions. So, I know that a lot of people's concerns was that this boot was going to be almost more Luna than GX. Do you feel that ended up being true? Or do you feel like it is more, I guess, GX DNA than Luna?
I think it's more GX DNA.
Okay.
And it's just like it's so much like the upper is so soft, dude. Like it's it's so comfortable. It's so
it's
soft,
literally the opposite of the Luna, where like that was firm.
Yes. It's soft, it's comfortable. It seems like it's gonna get softer, and that's exciting, dude. Like honestly, I'm gonna have a really difficult time this year of picking like my main boots to wear, because like I have these and then I really want to try the new Tekelas. We'll get into that later, but
Yeah.
I like these so much. But you know me, I like to go through my options before
For sure. Before you
take
make
my
a
partner.
commitment. Yeah, and then even then
Yeah.
you still change it.
Yeah,
Okay,
well-
a few more questions. So with the boot, and in the previous episode when we kind of talked about the GX2 Luna 2, I said that it reminded me a lot of the GT and the GT2.
Yeah.
Now that you've tried them on feet, are you getting any sort of that sensation, or was it more just like an aesthetic and you're like, nah, it doesn't really feel
I
like
almost
that?
wonder. Okay, because the way the GT2 fit was very similar, right? Like,
Okay.
I'm going to pull the shape out here for you, but it did have that little extra length at the toe box.
Yep.
And then it kind of, I don't know. I wish. Do you have a GT2 you can run and grab real quick? I don't want to like make you run in the.
Hold on, I got one right here. Hold on.
The winters of Texas, which are nothing compared to anywhere else in the United States. But okay, yeah. So kind of similar.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
if
if
you
you hold them
pull,
up-
like yours back, like so I can see it in the full screen. Yours just really looks like a low cut GT2 to me.
Yeah.
Like that boot looks more GT2 than Luna or GX to me.
Yeah, and that's the. I almost wonder if that was kind of the silhouette, because it does feel very similar, especially like I didn't. You had mentioned this before we even had this in hand, but I really had that thought whenever I was dribbling around and had the extra room in the toe, and I was like, this reminds me a lot of the GT2. Much softer upper.
Okay, and then I guess another question I have for you is, how does that semi collar feel on feet? Because it sticks up a little awkwardly, you know, especially that front part, and like even in Noah's
Yeah,
video, it kind of looks a little wonky. So like on feet, did you notice it at all? Because it's way different than the GX.
I didn't notice it too much. It didn't bug me. I don't know. I really like. I don't know. I'm not very picky. As long as it's low cut. Like, and this to me is like even this little extra little bit here. Like that's not gonna bug me.
It still feels low cut.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me think of what else I have to ask you about that boot. But while you have it right there. Oh, okay. And this is going to be a good transition to our next topic. But that pattern, the Luna pattern that is on the upper, it reminds me a ton of the T90 Laser 1 and 2, and it had kind of like that bullseye, but it was rubber back then. So did that feel almost more, for lack of a better way to put it, like power boot-ish? Or does it still kind of retain that almost control boot category?
That's a great question, Justin. I don't feel like it felt like I had that power boot. I mean, I don't even know what the categories are anymore. We're blending so much.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But I would consider this control. Even with that, that's a good take though, dude.
Yeah, because see, I mean, it just looks like, to me, like they're really trying to push that whole, like, it's all about the shot and like clean striking surface. We've got some raised elements.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Is like when you take shots, when the ball comes up in the air and it comes down your foot, it is a very good 1-to-1 sensation. Like even though you've got all of these like elements on top, so you feel like there would almost be like a layer there. It's very good contact, dude.
Okay, and then final question: the back half where like the weird darker watercolor looks, is that Flyknit? What is that?
I don't know, man. It's just some kind of.
Is it just a synthetic?
I think it's just a synthetic. Like
Okay, because I can't tell what, like from any picture, I can't tell if that's Flyknit or if that's something else. Because I saw with the developer, he was saying that with the Luna 2 and the GX2. Yeah. So see, you see it with the Luna 2 and the GX2 that the problem that they ran into with the Luna was that since they used grip knit on everything, it made the boot way heavier than they wanted or liked. And so I know he said with this one they try to change it and they try to use Flyknit and the grip knit, but I can't tell with that back part if that's just a synthetic or if it's just a waxed over Flyknit.
Possibly, man. It's hard to tell.
Okay.
Yeah, because there is like because the texturing and like the wax over it is.
So it's like GX. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, I mean, so overall, like early scale, 1 to 10. 1 being absolutely terrible. Like,
you know what? Dang, that is a tough.
I was gonna say it's early. I know, but like, give
It's
me
early.
like your rough first impression number.
First impression number is pretty high. I'd honestly say like maybe 7.5, 8.
Wow.
And if I could put this
Okay.
next to, and we'll get into this topic in a second, but if I could put this boot next to the newest Predators, the Future 7 Ultimate, and then the New Balance. Oh God, they're changing these names. New Balance V4 Plus. They take the Pro
Yeah,
out.
they take Tekela V4 Plus.
Tekela
I think.
V4 Plus. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I would need all of them lined up, and then I feel like I'd have a better a better idea of what number I wanted to put with each boot. But right now, to me, 7.5, 8 out of 10. I need more time with the sole plate to really know if I need to go up or down with that. But solid boot, dude. So good. Yeah,
Oh, that's good to hear, man.
Yeah, solid boot.
Because again, like I know that I'm super in the minority, but I did like the Luna. It does have its issues for sure. It does have its issues,
Yeah.
and like I said, I really have loved the GX. But it's really like I think after the Hypervenom Phantom 1 and how everybody felt about that, and then going to the Hypervenom Phantom 2, it's nice to see that Nike has learned. You know what I mean? And the best way that I can put it is that they've learned, and they're like, hey, we can't go off the road like that.
And I don't want to keep like gushing over this, but I don't know how they did. Like, so this upper, right? Like the grip knit upper with the raised texture, like when you pull it out of the box and you feel it, just kind of like on the bottom part of the original GX, like you feel like it'd be too sticky, but it's not, man. And as a wide-footed player, this is very welcome. Like so I almost wonder if wide-footed players are gonna like these boots more than people who had the GX originally. But
see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm worried as somebody with more of a narrow foot if that boot is just going to honestly be just too sloppy.
Yeah, and I
loose.
remember the original Unisport review with J Mike where he was like, "Oh, the lockdown, I feel my heel slipping." I'm like, "Dude, what are you talking about?"
Yeah,
Like,
see, that's the issue. See, and like that's what we were even talking about. I think on the last episode where I was like, "Oh yeah, Noah is complaining about this," but like I didn't have that issue, and it's because I don't have a narrow heel. So it is really interesting how literally your foot can dictate what you like and don't like, just because of how it fits. Okay, so let's move back. We're gonna move forward, but also move back. I want to talk about this whole control boot, power boots. I mean, I don't think speed boots are gonna go anywhere. So I think like if we're gonna talk about the 3 and 4 silos, right now speed boot is guaranteed there.
Right.
But what are the other silos now?
Well, okay. To answer your question, just it was speed, right? Control, okay, power, and then leather touch.
Heritage,
heritage, that even kind of got wonky with like is leather, anyways. so like let's break down the 3 main categories right now.
Okay,
you have speed, right? That's not going away. Okay, and then control, is that what we're gonna call this? Is control?
See, and that's where I don't know, because like I said, that boot looks very power boot to me.
Yeah,
just how it looks, and like I have the 30, right? The Predator 30.
Right.
And, some people say, oh, no, this is a control boot. It has the rubber elements. It's all about controlling the ball, swerve, this and that. But this boot, I told you, reminds me of like the Mania, the Pulse, the Absolute. And those were power boots. And even though it had leather, it was all about increasing your shot. So I don't even know what to categorize this as. Like, because to me, this is more power boot than control boot.
Right. And I will do you one more, right? So not even did we end up with, and I don't even know when this started, right? You have your different silo. You have speed, control, power, touch, leather. But then you're almost dictating by marketing brands where positionally those players are going to wear those boots.
Yes.
And that's something that always drove me crazy because I'm more of a winger. I like to wear leather boots. Leather boots now are more for defenders.
Yes.
Or defensive midfielders.
Yes.
So, like, not only are you categorizing the boot, but you're also categorizing it by, like, a player positionally.
Yeah. Boots by position has always been I would say, hot topic for quite some time, because, I mean, you can go on anybody's boot review somewhere, and inevitably there's always a comment, hey, I play X position, I need to know what that boot is best for me. I play, hey,
That's
I'm
how
a
people
winger.
always start their questions.
Do I want to go with a X speed, Speed Portal Plus, or is it okay if I wear a Phantom GX? And it's like, dude, it doesn't, like, that doesn't matter.
Is it okay?
But it's funny that you say that, because you are a big Tiempo guy, right?
Yes.
And we're a little bit older, so you remember. But do you remember when people like Ronaldinho, who played on the wing, was
Dude,
a Tiempo guy.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah,
when
dude.
you know how like you're old and you're like, oh, I used to be cool. Tiempos used to be cool,
Dude, I remember Ruud
Ronaldinho.
van Nistelrooy was a Tiempo guy. He's a
Yes,
striker.
dude.
He's the greatest fox in the box.
You want to talk about? Okay, I'm talking about Manchester United players now. Chicharito was a Tiempo 3 player.
He was
made
a
me want to
Tiempo
wear
guy.
the Tiempo 3. Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
he was a
and
Tiempo
would
4.
score
I think he changed
awesome
after the 4.
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might have changed after the 4, but like it wasn't relegated to freaking defensive like Virgil van Dijk, Jordan Henderson. Like that wasn't the face. Like, so it's almost like because you pigeonhole these players, or not these players, these boots to these certain players, you almost decrease their popularity. Because that's why I wanted to wear the Tiempo was Ronaldinho.
Yeah, and see, and that's also where it kind of gets into the, we've talked about the popularity last week when we were talking about the top 10 boots of all time. And I think where people, like the Mercurial, for example, R9 wore the Mercurial and Cristiano Ronaldo wore the Mercurial. Cristiano Ronaldo is the most marketable, maybe besides David Beckham, arguably the most marketable person of all time. He played on the wing, and I think that things like that is what dictated where Nike's like, hey, these people want to play like this, so let's try to get them into the same boots. And so I think that in its infancy, boots by position was pretty cool, because it's just like, hey, if you're new to the game, this is kind of like an intro to you. Like, oh, you're all about passing. Let's get you into a control boot that can just maybe help you a little bit.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, you're a defender. You play rougher. You're probably slide tackling. You might get stepped on more. Go with a Tiempo, the padded leather. It could help save your foot, even if it's just a fraction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
You're
think
so
that in
right.
its infancy, it's like, okay, that's a really cool concept. I really like that. But I think the problem is that with the brands pushing it for so long, I think people have taken it almost as gospel, and people are like, I am a winger and I love a leather boot, and I really want to wear a Copa Pure, 2+ that fits my foot perfectly. I love the way it looks. I love everything about that boot, but I play on the wing, so I have to wear an X speed, crazy fast plus, and I hate it.
It's so weird, and it is the younger generation, man, because that's who's asking these questions, and it's because it's all they've ever seen. And luckily for you and I, like, we've seen like these legends of players wear all kinds of boots. Like it has never been like this, and so I don't know if that's going to change. Because it seems like they've stuck to this strategy for years. I don't even know when the switch flipped.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that, even that, and if we keep pushing that category, I thought it was really interesting where the T90 Laser 4 power boot, it's all about shot power, Wayne Rooney, Fernando Torres, they're the faces there. It's all about shooting. And then when the Hypervenom 1 came out, they're like, hey, this is not about power. This is about agility. And then I think that word, I don't know what is the difference between agility versus speed?
Speed to me is like you can run a 40, or you're a sprinter, right? You can run really quickly. Agility, more like cutting, change of directions, things like that.
But quickly.
Yeah, quickly.
See, I guess that makes sense, but it's just interesting because, again, then they took Neymar, and Neymar became the face of the Hypervenom, and that brother played out on the wings. He wasn't a striker.
No,
and it wasn't until later on, when they started pushing the whole striker thing there, where it became a striker boot, the whole agility boot, Harry Kane.
Yep.
I mean, Robert Lewandowski. A couple of those guys wore the Hypervenoms, especially towards the 2 and the 3 when it got clear. But again, it started becoming a striker boot, which to me is, again, about pushing power and shot power and giving you more oomph. And then the GT. And then now that you go to the GX2, and I even told you, it looks like a power boot to me. Like, it looks like a modern T90.
You know what, though? This boot could be more of, I think maybe they could be getting away from it, and maybe this is going to be multi-use, because you see, this boot here in particular, if you look at Man City, you've got Foden wearing these, you've got Haaland wearing these. So Haaland, striker, Foden, midfielder.
Yeah.
Pep's really versatile, but so it kind of does break into those two categories. I know that they were putting Harry Kane in these before he switched over to Skechers, which is essentially Nike putting him into a GT3. But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like everything now just wants to be a little bit loose, a little bit like they're
more fluid.
Yes, exactly, more fluid.
Okay.
So maybe we are
See-
going to get out of it.
See, that's what I'm saying too. Because I feel like even honestly with Adidas, they're the one. Well, and even some of the other brands like New Balance. Let's talk about New Balance for a second. They have 2 silos.
Right.
Well, I guess they technically have a third.
Which is maybe what... Oh, yeah, they do have a third.
They have the 442.
And
But anyways,
and that third is near and dear to me, but yeah.
yeah. But I think maybe you're right. Brands are just starting to push. Hey, wear whatever you to an extent in our boot catalog. Wear what you like, and people are just naturally going to gravitate to whatever they like. Like as somebody who's older and can afford boots, I promise you, I don't buy boots based on what pro is wearing that boot anymore.
No. Not at all. No.
I've gotten older. I buy either what I like the look of, or honestly, what feels good.
Yeah. And and it honestly should be buying boots for what you like, your foot shape, and then foot shape, and then what you like, how you like your foot to be. Like for me, the biggest thing's lockdown, weight, not as big of a category. But you are, like, going back to your fluidity topic, you are seeing pros like Raheem Sterling, who started out in the Furon. Well, actually, he was a Vapors guy, and then he moved over to New Balance, and then he became the Furon guy, kind of like Saka and Mane, and now he's running the Tekela. So it's like he might have made that switch on his own. Yeah. That's kind of like freedom within the brand.
Which I think is cool, and I think that's almost something that should be encouraged, because I remember it was always a big point of contention. Going back to Nike, Neymar face a Hypervenom Phantom 1. Everybody loves that boot for the most part. And then when the 2 came out, that's when do you remember when he used to wear those camouflage Vapors that looked like Hypervenoms?
Yep.
Because they were like, oh, he's the face of the Hypervenom, but we can't. And then I remember finally, I think it was on the Vapor 11. When the Vapor 11 came out, they made him the face of the Vapor 11. And then I don't remember who they made the face of. It might have been Harry Kane.
Did you... Okay, tangent. Did you think that Neymar was going to stay in the Puma Kings? The Platinums?
No.
No.
Get real.
What was with that? Why did he pull that boot out for like 5 minutes?
Well, that generation of Puma King was super speed bootish.
Yeah.
It was super speed.
Very narrow.
It was, and these
And
pros
light.
get like I don't think people realize the amount of boots that pros get. And I think that with Neymar, especially in that Puma King, I think he always had a fresh pair, so it always felt tight, it felt good, and then he just kind of tossed them by the wayside.
Yeah.
But I don't get why they put him in the future. That is the weirdest branding to me.
He should be wearing an Ultra. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
But should he?
Maybe he thought if I
we
wear
just
the
talked about
future...
how boots by position is dumb, and we're both like, well, yeah, he probably should have worn the other boot.
Well, he had so many injuries up to that point. I want to say on his last Mercurial, he was wearing a Tiempo sole plate. And so maybe when he went to Puma, did the Kings, was like, this is kind of a speed boot, but conical. And they're like, hey, we got this thing coming out. It's called the Future. We want you to be the face of it. And he was like, okay, that's good because I've gotten injured a lot in my speed boots. So maybe he just stayed away from the Ultras because of that. But as we can see, dude just tore his ACL a few months ago, so...
And I was gonna say, the Future Ultimate has like the longest, most aggressive studs. Like them shits is long and sharp.
Yeah, I don't know why they chose that because I liked the previous. I can't remember what the name of it was, but I liked the previous.
It was the
Z
1.4.
Yes, Z 1.4, Z 1.3.
Yeah.
That sole plate was awesome.
Yeah, and it has like almost like the half circles, right?
Yes, half conicals. Yeah, the stud length was still long, but it was like kind of half conical, like plastic. It was really good.
There's a lot of pros where I want to get a pair of their boots and just see genuinely how different some of them are compared to like what we get. Like obviously I know the fit of their foot is designed around it, but like I know a lot of pros, especially for Nike, that always wear a camouflage. I think it's a Legend 3, Legend 4 sole plate, like to this day. I know Busquets was a big one.
I think you said Nike. I think Noah had a pair of John Stones' GT 1 or 2s, and the bottom of those I think were all conical. It had a freaking
it has a
hard ass carbon fiber, but I
know that. And then I think James got a pair of women's player. I can't think of her name. I'm sorry. I apologize. But she had a pair of GX that I don't think he said was too heavily modified, but it was way stiffer in the sole plate. So it's interesting to me. You have like that side of the argument where everybody at Nike's like, I want a stiffer sole plate, stiffer sole plate, stiffer sole plate. But then supposedly the reason that Adidas got rid of that carbon fiber shank in the speed portals was that the pros were complaining that it was too stiff. So it's very like I said, it'd be interesting to know what's available to you and what people actually would like, because I know that when a lot of players left their big Nike contracts and either went to whatever, a lot of them went to Mizuno's as they got older because they could just wear whatever.
Right.
So it would be interesting to just see like how different and how pros feel about their boots, how picky some are versus how.
Yeah, nobody ever asks them that. They're always like, how, like, you know, it's kind of funny. But I was like, oh, your playing career and you like this, and you're like, and I want to know, like, dude, what were your favorite pair of boots? Like, what did you like to wear?
Yeah.
Nobody freaking asks them that.
Yeah, well, and that's what's crazy, and like I think it was Pro Direct recently did a video with Kaká, and Kaká talked about like some of his old Predators, and then he talked about some of his Addy Pures and 11 Pros and stuff. And it's really interesting, like when you watch him play now, a lot of times that fool is wearing like Copa Mundials.
Yeah.
Like just totally blacked out Copa Mundials.
Yeah, because it's at that point, like, it's just, you want a stable ride, dude. Even like as I get older, I just want a stable ride, bro. I don't want anything too crazy. I don't want to drive the Ferrari. All right.
Hey, man, you gotta have that daily driver.
That's right. You gotta have the daily driver, bro.
And that needs to be a Ferrari.
Stable like that.
Okay, so let's move forward a little bit more. We've been mentioning them and mentioning them. Talk to me about how you feel about those new, I think they're plus models of the New Balance Furon and the New Balance Tekela. I think they've kept the same numbers, but they've tweaked things.
Yeah, the pluses. Yeah, so they've tweaked like minor things, and it's actually kind of hard to find the details on these things. I know with the Furon, I know that the material's softer on the upper.
Okay.
I know that like the band like has been like widened a bit. I think the shooting area, but there's really not a lot more. I know. I was actually trying to do some research before the pod on but there's not like there's hardly any reviews out on YouTube. I think I went to a You ever go to David Rao and just like translate that into English?
Okay, I'm gonna pause you for a second. As a barber, his haircut drives me absolutely insane.
Oh yeah.
Whoever he's getting, David, whoever is cutting your hair, please stop. Like, go find a new barber, man. That hard part is, oh god, it's way too wide. Anyways, continue. I'm sorry.
Anyways, all right. So yeah, sometimes I'll go to his videos and actually translate it into English so I can figure out what the heck's going on. So I was watching a bit of the Furon, and it really didn't seem like there were too many changes. Like if you look at the boot aesthetically and you're really not looking hard enough, you wouldn't notice that big of a difference between the like V7 Pro from the Plus. But I was watching Boot Nerds today, who came back today, coincidentally. Anyways, so J Mike was talking about how like the upper softer essentially, and then if you want to talk about the Tekela, it's kind of in a similar position where the upper's a little bit softer. There's some more, I want to say like raised elements on the top, maybe. The knit looks a little bit different to me on the top. The sole plate looks the same. There might have rounded the toe box a bit more, but dude, I'm excited. Like, this is a topic within itself, right? So you look at something like the GX2. And I want to keep holding it up the camera, but like you've got a big change right here in the sole plate, right? You've got bigger changes on the raised elements. They've kept the grip knit, but they've lightened it up. And you look at a company like New Balance, who've just made like a few minor tweaks here and there to something that's already good. It's kind of like what we talked about. If you stop having your
sorry,
your
dude, I'm still sick. There. I'm still trying to get better.
So it's kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like so I guess what I'm getting at is New Balance doing their upgrades the right way, and is Nike going a little bit too far?
See, man, it's really hard, and it's definitely a fine line because I think that here's what I'm gonna preface. if they do this, their Plus model, New Balance, right? If they do this Plus model almost as like a one-off, maybe one colorway here and there, I think that actually is the right way to go. I think that obviously Nike, like coming out with a new generation and upgrading and kind of refusing those two lines, I think was smart for them too. But I've always been a fan of when brands do like a special edition kind of, they've tweaked it just a little bit, but just for the one or two off. Almost like I don't know, like a Tiempo MI.
Yeah.
The Legend 9 MI.
The Rudigan Puma King
Yes.
recent one. Yeah.
Those
something
were
a little
big
different.
ones. I like when Adidas used to do the crazy fast packs. I always was a big fan of those, where they just
or
put
the
a
Nike
lighter
Tech
tooling.
Craft. Just something
Yes,
special. Yeah.
So, I mean, oh, God, dude. We need to have an episode on, like, positive boot tech and, like, failed boot tech. Because some of those tech crafts, like, a couple of them are not terrible. Some of them are actually pretty decent. But most of them are terrible.
Yeah.
That's something we need to have. But, yeah, so personally, I've always been a fan of that. And I think that New Balance doing the Plus. Now, again, I don't know if this is their version of a midlife kind of update, or if this is just one colorway and it's just like, hey, this is what we're doing for this colorway.
I think it is a midlife update, because if they really wanted to like make it, make bigger changes, they would just call it the Furon V8 and the Tekela V5. Changing the numbers that's not too bad. So like I appreciate it, and I think that with certain reviewers, right, or certain people that do this for a living, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because what I've seen in the past from like Unisport or whoever is they'll get a new boot, like Adidas boot, Nike boot, whatever. If they don't change the tooling on it, if they don't change the sole plate, like J. Michael say something about it. He'll be like, oh yeah, you had 2 years to change the tooling. You didn't do it. It's the same as this one. I want to say that they did that between like the Tiempo 7, Tiempo 8, same tooling. Even now we've got, I bring this up every podcast, but Copa Pure, like same freaking, like
from
Nemesis
two generations of Nemesis,
right?
The 17 and the 18,
right? And so you're going to hear about it, like, and we've had this conversation in terms of like, okay, making those minor adjustments to a base that you already have for New Balance, who has way less money than Nike. Probably the smarter route to go. Like, it's going to be more cost effective. You're ultimately making better changes to make it a better boot that people already like. So, like, awesome. And then you brought up points too with Nike, where it's like people's expectations are almost like the next generation is going to be something completely different. And if it's not, like, damned if you don't, damned if you do, damned if you don't. They're going to hear about it.
For sure. Well, and I think that this comes back to what we were talking about last week on the last episode was. I am fine with things being regurgitated or reused, but again, you have to show me why, and you have to show me that if you're going to save money on these boots, that I should be able to save some money on these boots. You know what I mean? And we talked about this, but again, like I don't think that it's necessarily bad that Puma. I'm sorry, not Puma. New Balance is reusing and kind of upgrading like a slight tweak, because I like that way better than what Puma's doing, where Puma is basically kind of changing a little bit of the material but bumping the price up and then calling it a whole new generation.
Yeah, and the difference between, and this is I'm glad you brought Puma up, because the difference between what New Balance is doing with their Plus model and then what Puma is doing with their Ultimate Future is like, it's a Future 7 Ultimate, and we're going to move the power tape up here, and we're going to decrease the lace holes, but this sole plate's the same, like the fit's kind of the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like New Balance is being more honest, I guess, and saying like, hey, it's just a little bit of an update, we're going to just put the little plus on here, here's a few minor tweaks, and then Puma's over here like, it's the new generation, and here's the same thing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I think if you do the slight tweaks but call it a new generation every once in a while, I do think you can kind of get away with it more. But I think that Puma is notorious for this, man. I mean, you look at the we'll just use the Future, right? Just as a baseline. The Puma Future Z 1.1 and 1.2, I couldn't tell you the difference between those two models.
No.
Two different generations. Couldn't tell you the difference. The 1.3 and 1.4, same thing. Honestly, I can't really tell you the difference.
Great point.
And then so it's now like the Ultimate, and
was
now
weird.
the 7.1 Ultimate. Yeah, they moved the power tape, but like, what is different about the boot?
What was that? Yeah, the 1.3, 1.4 was like the 1.4 was a little tighter, maybe.
Maybe it was the colorway. Who knows? Maybe it's the one pair we got. I don't know. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like that's the kind of moments where when brands do something, I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
You just make it harder for people. And again, if it's just because you want to put your boots on sale, just put your boots on sale.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why a lot of times when people ask me, they're like, is it worth getting the new model? Like, should I get the new model? I'm like, well, what are you wearing now? They're like, the 1.4 is out. Should I get that? And I'm like, what are you in? They're like, 1.3. I'm like, it's the same. Just get another pair of 1.3s.
Don't.
Just save your money. You don't.
That's what I'm saying. Is if you haven't, if you're interested in the new feature and that new colorway, the white pink, that looks sick. Oh
yeah,
that colorway is sick.
Yeah, that's way better than that teaser colorway.
Oh,
like,
for sure,
miles better.
Yeah. And we should probably let's go back to colorways in a minute. That colorway is sick, dude.
Oh yeah.
And so it's kind of on you, because it really, I know people have said moving the power tape actually does kind of hold a little bit of structure on the top. I'm not sure how much you need that, but if you're trying to save money, dude, just buy the old Future Ultimate. Yeah. With the power tape on the sides, it's almost the same boot.
Dude, and
it's
those are massively on sale. Like all the time.
Yeah.
And they have every colorway.
Yeah, they literally, you can get so many colors. Dude, we've been talking about this astronaut colorway for like a year. They still haven't with the price, by the way.
That's because it's a Unisport one. Dude, I've come to realize that Unisport ones usually don't go that much on sale. Maybe like $20 or 20
Put
euros.
them on sale,
whatever.
Unisport. We'll get them. We'll put them on the show.
Okay, so here's what I want to talk to you about, because it goes to the same thing. What do you think when, let's say, for example, we have friends, we know what they've talked about. The Puma, we're going to use the Puma Future Ultimate just as an example. The launch colorway, that blue-orange one.
Yep.
People have said fits vastly different than that last one that they did where it was like the white and pink. So how do you feel about boots of the same generation, the same line, everything, but fitting/feeling different? Do you like that, or are you against that?
Okay. It depends on if you are... Okay, well, it depends on if you're an early adopter. Because like us, like we've said, like if I buy a Phantom GX2 in like 3 months when there's a colorway I like, if that fits different and I really like this model that I stuck with, I'm going to be upset. Because like I really like... Unless it's for the better. Because I've told you, I had the original Copa Pure ones, the whiteouts, and then later on down the road, I had the white green, and I swear that leather was softer. I swear it was a little bit, like the boot actually was a little bit bigger, but it was more comfortable. Yeah. Right? And so in that way, okay, maybe they improved on it, maybe they got some feedback, whatever. But it is weird. And it's weird because it's like you have the same sole plate, same materials. Like how can it fit that much differently?
Yeah, I don't remember if you remember this, but when I was shopping for the Predator Accuracy 0.1 Low, I was looking for that. It was the white colorway with like the lime green, the gray, and the black. I went to a Dick's. I tried on a size 8 US, which is what I wear in my Pogba pair. I've only barely worn that Pogba pair, but I've worn it enough to know how it felt on foot. The white green ones felt totally different. They felt massively tighter, like I needed to go up half a size, okay? So then I ended up later that week going to a different Dick's, tried on the same pair, the white and green, fit perfectly.
That's
so
weird.
I asked people, I reached out to a couple guys, I posted a thing on my story, and I said, hey, has anybody ever had this situation? And one guy messaged me back, he doesn't want to, I can't say his name or anything, but he messaged me back, he said, listen, dude. Yeah, he was like, hey, like I have, I can't like, I just don't want to put this man on blast, right? For the people that he knows. Okay. But he basically just said, a lot of it comes down to these boots are made in different factories in different countries all across the world. And he was like, so somebody may have a last that could be exactly 26 meters, and that fits your foot perfectly. Somebody else in a different factory may have a last that's 26.05 meters.
Okay.
So he's saying like those things play parts, and he also said depending on what colorway you get, sometimes the dyes that they use can affect the materials differently. So some colorways may feel tighter or firmer than other colorways, which is super weird to me.
That's a really good explanation, dude.
But that's what he said. Yeah, I mean that's like science
full
stuff.
substance football there with that explanation.
It wasn't sub.
He'd be proud. He'd be proud of you.
But yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that's what I'm saying. Like to me, as a regular consumer, that shit is so annoying.
Yeah, no, it is. And I remember James Boot Wizard actually did a whole video about this for the Puma Kings. He had gotten one pair and he was like, "Oh, this boot's terrible," and then he got another one. Is like, if I had reviewed this pair, I would have reviewed it way higher because it's a much better boot.
It's so weird to me. Again, I get like, sometimes I know that like we said they'll tweak a little something, but like it's like a noticeable tweak. It's not like this boot was white and then this boot was off white, so the off white one feels drastically different. But the biggest complaint that I've had for this isn't even just football boots, but just shoes in general. Why can't a size 8 just be the same thing across the board for everyone? Why is a size 8 not a size 8?
I don't know. I don't know, but I'll say that a lot of them have gotten closer. Puma still runs a little long in certain ones, but I think like back in the day, like a Nike would be like half a size different than like an Adidas.
Yes.
Yeah, like Nikes always fit like tighter, and so I'd have to get like a 10 in Nike, 9.5 in a Adidas. But it's a lot closer to all being kind of around that 9.5 right now.
Yeah, and that's where I tend to kind of float is 9 times out of 10 I'm going to wear an 8 US. But like for me, the Luna, and I talked to a couple other guys, I had to go up half a size because of just how much padding and stuff was inside of it to fit. But yeah, that's just one of those things that I think is so weird. Like you can have colorway A fits a certain way. You go to colorway B, it fits a different way. You go to colorway B2, and that fits an even different way. It's just really interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Okay, so the last thing I kind of want to talk about is with the GX2. I think a part of the reason that boot is not being hyped up so much is strictly because of the colorway. I honestly think that the colorway is going to hurt that boot a ton.
Why do they do that?
I don't know, bro.
I don't understand. Like, don't do this.
I don't know. I told you that looks very like 80s surfer Miami to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not. That just doesn't vibe with me.
It's a classic mermaid tail, bro. Like I don't know why.
Dude.
Like what were they thinking?
I don't know. But then I look at this boot. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think this is that good.
Oh, see, I wouldn't mind that one.
See, I think
it's not
like
the best.
Passable.
Okay. Yeah.
But
passable.
then here's my question for you: if this was the limited edition Predator 30, that came in the box, do you think that boot would have sold out the same way it did?
I don't know, because they really kind of made that one look classic. Like what they did with like the elements there, like it. I don't know, dude. Like,
see,
so,
that's what I'm saying.
Here's my thoughts on it though. I think that they know they can put a bad colorway out for launch, and you and I have talked about this before, because people will buy it. Because it's like, this is like the one you can get right now. If you want to be the first adopter of a brand new launch product, like you're gonna buy it. Doesn't matter what colorway it is. And so like, especially Nike's a bit notorious for this. I'm not a big fan of pink boots. They did the same thing with the GX1 during the World Cup, where it was like that pink and black pair. Yeah, wasn't a fan. Knew I needed to wait. Like same thing with these though. It's like they know you're gonna buy it. Adidas, same thing. They know you're gonna buy that colorway. There's a lot of good colorways coming behind this that we've seen through like footy headlines or Instagram or whatever. So like we're not necessarily suckers, but like if you want to get the product and talk about it, you've got to get the first crappy colorway.
Yeah, see, I think that where Adidas went right this last set of generation of boots that they did was when the Copa Pure Plus and the Accuracy Plus or the Accuracy generations, when those came out, you remember they did all three colorways at the same time?
Best launches in recent memory.
That's what I said. That was so genius.
It was
all
perfect.
black, which a ton of people like, all white, which a ton of people
Yep.
love, and then like more of a black and pink, if you like a little bit of subtle.
Yeah.
And then even whenever the what boot was it that came out later that did the same thing? Oh, the Crazy Fast came out. They did the white and green one, then they did the all white one and an all black one. And to me, that's like one of the smartest things that Adidas has ever done. Because like if I don't want to use the Predator 30 like the special edition because that's a total subject for different discussion. But I think if they would have came out with these, okay, and if they did an all black pair, and then they had an all white pair come out, oh dude, they would have sold out all the tongue models in every size instantly. I think this would have been the last one to sell out.
Right. Yeah, so it's almost like they tee it up where they're going to get all the initial adopters first and then everybody else.
Yes.
So because they know that's guaranteed. That's guaranteed that like somebody like you and I or whoever are going to get that colorway. But going back to Adidas and the Predators, the most frustrating thing about Adidas, and Nike doesn't do this as much, is that they will make special colorways for players like Jude and Trent, and they did some during the last World Cup for Jesus, and you are never going to see those boots.
Yeah, dude.
Like, they look so good, dude. Like, the red ones that the white and red that Trent had, like, those would sell out.
Oh, yeah. Well, I loved those ones. And, I mean, I'm not the biggest pink fan, but Jude got, when he won Golden Boy, I think he got, like, a rose gold pair that looked... Oh, man, those are phenomenal looking.
Yeah.
Those were phenomenal looking.
We'll never see those.
No.
So.
And it's just, again, it's interesting because so many people love that colorway. I don't get why. Like, especially the Trent ones. The Trent ones for sure really have perplexed me because, and I think maybe they didn't want to, and part of me thinks that they didn't want to do the Trent ones because of the Yamamoto ones that are coming out. The white ones with the black, like those look fire
cool.
too. Those look super fire. And I think that might just be a pure collection pair, just like all of his boots. But part of me wonders if they didn't want to release the Trent pairs either ever or yet is because they don't want to eat into that. It's an all white tongue, an all white base with a different colored tongue. And so maybe that's why the brand looks. I don't know. I really don't know.
Do you remember back in the day when soccer.com would send out a catalog? And you'd flip through it, and like at least for me, like it used to be like you would have like, and I hate how much I talk about Tiempos because I'm just like the Tiempo guy, but you would have like all of these Tiempo Air Legends, all with like a white base, but you'd have like red swoosh, blue swoosh, whatever swoosh.
Yes.
Like I miss that. Like those were the best
miss that
days,
too,
dude.
And see, that's where I think that like, do you remember? Oh, I think it's the Legend 3. It's the one that the Montebaluna is based on.
Are you about to talk about Nike ID?
No.
Oh, no,
I do miss Nike ID, but no.
Anyways, go ahead.
But no. But I remember whatever World Cup that was. I think that might have been 06. But anyways, so Nike, if you were a Nike player, and especially with the Tiempos, your boot, it's kind of like what they did in the 2018. Your boot was all white, and then depending on what country you played for, you had a different accent color.
That
so
is
like
cool.
Italy had that whitish silver blue, and then blue, and then like Portugal, for example, would have like the whitish, and then they'd have like a dark maroon.
Oh,
red.
okay. So you're talking about 06 World Cup. See, I got excited because I thought you were talking about 2010, which like around that time you could customize like through Nike ID.
Pack was so good.
Dude, it was so good. The gray with the orange.
The gray and the orange. Yeah. But I mean, I think, see, and that's like, I wish that was more attainable nowadays. Like I said, we've talked about this. I don't want colors so over the top, but I would love to see if Nike came out with a pack and it's like, I don't know, the USA pack, and it's red, white, and blue. And then you get like the UK boot, and it might be just white and red with like the St. George flag, and then the Portugal one might be like predominantly like a darker red with maybe some green and white. Like I think that would be almost to match your kits, like to an extent.
They kind of do that with the street gattos. They have like they'll have France and England and US.
Yeah. Oh yes, that's perfect.
So I know they can do it to a certain extent. But like in cleats, I don't know, dude. I don't know if just cleats are too much. I don't know if it's just too much money production. I have no idea, but yeah, go back to simpler times, Nike.
See, and that's what I really wonder. Like, again, we've talked about this, but I want to see that market data. Like, I want to know why. Like, getting like a more simple colorway is so effing hard.
They've like messed these kids up, man. Like if they see like a boring like 2-color base, they're gonna be like, nah.
Yeah.
I need at least 5 colors.
And it's like, it's like, why?
Play on my team. I don't know.
I don't like that's what I'm saying. Like I just keep looking at these and I keep going back to these. Like, imagine if like all of this was the exact same, right? But instead of orange and yellow, it was just white and black. Like, that sounds so boring, but it was like all white base.
I would love that.
Black accents, black accents here and there. Or like Trent's with the red. Like, that's so simple. And it sounds so dumb that it's so simple, but I'm telling you, that would absolutely sell out instantly.
Yeah. Maybe it has to do with, because you and I watch the Premier League, and that's how we can tell when a new colorway is going to come out, because the pros usually get them before we get them. And so maybe it's so they can stand out on the pitch more. So like, oh, what's like, because I saw Sterling wearing the new Tekelas, and I was like, oh, like I almost like want to pause it and kind of look to see if I can get some more detail. So maybe there's a little bit of that to it. I don't know.
See, and that's what's so weird, because even when I think about it like that, because I've thought that like, okay, maybe the bright colors, kind of sticks out. But then part of me wonders, okay, but on the reverse end, if everybody else is wearing bright-ass boots, and then Trent walks up with his crispy, clean white boots, like, your eyes are naturally going to, like, see that and be like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah.
Why does that look so different?
That's a good point. At least all the brands have sort of, like, the brands got into this weird thing where every brand kind of had the same variation of color. You know what I mean? Do you remember that time period where it was like Nike had blue, Adidas had blue, Puma had blue, and so everybody was wearing the freaking same blue cleats, and you're like, what's going on here, dude?
Yeah, the only reason I know that that's like popular is like that's tons of market research that we'll never even see or hear about that goes years back. But like I know like tons of brands, like even just regular brands like Gap, Banana Republic, whatever. They'll all start like Army Green will be like the color of 2023.
Yeah,
so and they kind of push that so they can do it. So it makes sense why, but it is very weird how like everyone will have an all white pack around the same time and everybody will have an all blue pack, and you're like, who is talking between each other?
I've never understood
who's spying on who.
I don't know.
So yeah. Well, we're just regular guys. We'll never figure that out. You know that, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna pull up last week's podcast real quick. I need to start having this ready, so
there
we can
a lot of comments on the last podcast.
Dude, that I told you, man, that top 10 one, that was so fun to do, and I think a lot of people responded really, really well to that one.
Yeah, I think Andrew Lockhart probably broke his phone.
Dude, he did. He got so mad that I compared the Lotto Zero Gravity to the Edge Plus, and I stand by that.
We love you, dude. We
do.
hate making you that angry.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna read this one. This one was from Nevin, and he's been a regular viewer for the past one. He said, "I'm surprised no one mentioned the Magista Obra 1, the Mizuno Rebula 3, the Puma King Platinum." I think he's talking about that Neymar one, that first one. The Future 18, the Puma Future 18 net, .1 net fit, or even the Copa Mundial. And those are all bangers. And I told him, like, dude, the way that the game works, like those boots were all listed, but just not enough people listed them, or people rated them lower, so they just didn't make it. That's all it was.
I think I figured a way. So when we kept going through the list, and it was like Vapor, Vapor 11, or whatever, I don't even remember which, 13, 15, 8, 11. If we had added a rule to say like, okay, there's only like one silo, it's the most voted for, like, or sorry, one generation, and that can be the only generation. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you can only have one Vapor, one Tiempo, one Pred. Like, that would almost make it a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more diverse in terms. So there's not like,
That would be smart. Maybe on the next time when we get some more people in and we grow.
Yeah. We'll have to like
we can definitely
make
try
some
that.
rules.
We can do like instead of top 10 boots, we can just do like top 10, almost like boot silos.
All right, here's a question you're gonna like. You're really gonna like this one. All right.
Okay.
It's my Footloose boots.
Oh God.
I will defend your Virgil van Dijk pick. Without him, Liverpool would not be competing for the
Oh,
title. He
my.
single-handedly kept Man City from winning all of the last 6 titles, and people complain of lack of parity in other leagues.
Okay. All I'm going to say is that is not true. Allison is the reason that Man City did not win all those titles. And the year that Liverpool finally won the Champions League, do you know who got the last goal in the last game of the season before to qualify them for Champions League? Allison with a header.
Oh, dude, that was
In the final minute, yeah, and he dedicated it to his dude.
That was one of the best games of all
beautiful
time.
Beautiful story.
To get to top 4.
But there's a reason that the only Prem that they won was the COVID year when nobody was watching them.
Yeah, it was that was when his dad, I think,
I think
drowned
he
or
dedicated.
something.
I think his dad had just passed away.
That was freaking.
And he dedicated.
That was an awesome game.
Wonderful story. Like I absolutely love that story. Even though I hate Liverpool, absolutely love that story. But I will die on the hill that Allison is the best signing, and Virgil van Dijk is. Oh my God, dude. He just tries to use his aura. He's not even that good.
Yeah.
And you know where I knew he was washed? When he started doing that hands behind the back thing. When he was defending?
Yeah.
Washed.
They all kind of get there eventually, but I don't know. That would be Allison, maybe Salah.
Salah's great.
It didn't produce anything, but I like Torres as one of our. No. Well, yeah, Torres is like near and dear, but like Luis Suarez, man, he lit it up too. We almost won with him, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, dude.